Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. I'm your host Orange Zeppelin and I have a special guest with me today.
I'm Mom.
And my mom and we are going to take a look at the ink collection that is arriving to us from ArtSnacks. I unboxed this last year. I think that was the first time they had done the ink collection. So this will be year number 2.
Yeah. Flip it over or it's going to be upside down.
Alright.
It just looked better the other way.
Eventually, we'll figure out how this opens.
Oh, you were wrong. Okay, never mind. Okay, now.
There we go.
Okay.
Now that we have figured out how to open the box, we get the hardest part figured out.
Ooh.
So we have some interesting things going on here already. Oh, this
would be the
looks
artist
like...
that's doing the prompts this year.
So we already got some paper. Let's take a look, though, at the literature first before we start poking around too much. We have our menu. We actually got a lot of neat things happening. So, first things first, Toxic Moxie and Plumchester Square Sketchbook.
But we got an email that said that this is wrong.
Now I remember. So
okay.
This is not what that is. So
instead we have a Speedball Square Sketchbook. It does
still
look
the
like
same
it's
artist
8x8,
though. So I wonder.
No, it's 6x6.
Okay, 6x6. So ignore the numbers.
Speedball.
So I think there was, if I remember correctly, there was a little bit of a supply change at some point. So the menu does not necessarily reflect what we actually got, but just in that particular instance. So when it says durable vegan leather and you're wondering, that's not what that is. So next we have the Dr. P.H. Martin's Bombay India ink. Appears to be this right here. Highly pigmented, transparent ink. Waterproof when dry. And so you can use it in pens, they say, supposedly non-clogging. You can dilute it with water, use with a brush for traditional watercolor. And we have yellow ochre. That might actually be a useful color if you're doing watercolor effects.
I'm surprised you can use that in pens. I guess you just wouldn't want to use it in your most favorite awesome. Like, I'm not going to put it in my brand new Twisby Eco.
So definitely that will be fun to experiment with. Is this... Okay, next. Sennelier Abstract Acrylic ink. Let's see. This also brush, dip pen, or dropper. Transparent water resistant ink. I always like getting more black ink because you guys probably know when I put ink in my pen or I'm doing any kind of line art brush stuff, it's usually with black. I'm not super exciting. Alright, and then next on the list, I think it's probably something hiding in here. Not that. It probably fell out. We have the cardboard.
Invisible. Oh,
okay, this matches. So I'm assuming this is partnered with this. This is the Princeton Velvet Touch series synthetic brush. This, let's see, that actually looks like a nice brush size. That's approximately what I like to use the most when it comes to the size of my brushes. There we go.
It seems like you've gotten quite a few Princeton in the previous art
I think
boxes.
so.
They seem to hold up well.
Alright, then we have the Pentel Arts Pocket Brush Pen.
Oh, those are some of my favorite pens.
This one's got itself a cartridge. So this actually... Alright. And it is noted as a staff favorite. Let's see. Permanent pigment ink. So we've got our refillable cartridges right here. Let's see. It almost looks like something I have. I'm going to put those down for a second. Not exactly, though. That would be interesting to get the other one out and compare them. It does look super similar to something I have, so that will be interesting to see how this works, because this one, it might be a little bit particular in how you use it. It might take a little bit of a careful touch.
It depends on how flexible that brush is on there, I think.
Because if it's a lot like a brush, then it might be a little bit particular to use.
I'll let that wait.
Now next on the list, this will be, I'm very interested in this because this is a Uniball white gel pen. I am a big fan of my white gel pens, and Uniball, I do have a pen from this brand that I really, really like. And having, as they're saying, super smooth, highly opaque, and vivid white pen is super useful. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this works out, because this is something I always like to have in my arsenal. Let's see if I can get the camera to focus. There we go, instead of showing just vague blobs. Alright, then we have the King line fine line ink pens. I can never get enough of this type of pen. Mostly,
Check
I am
that
big.
out. 0.20 millimeter. That's going to be like needle.
I might have one of those in the Sakura Micron pens. The Sakura Microns are my favorite ink pens to use, but I think I have some King Art pens that I do enjoy using, so I'm very happy to get those. That is my #1 type of pen that I use. Next, there is the Zebra Zensations brush pen. Is it? Might be this one right here. Great tool for both calligraphy and illustrations. Oh, I like that type of tip. This can be,
yeah, for sure.
This can be really nice for line art. There we go. Got us in focus. This one, it says it's water resistant, but not completely waterproof. So that is good to keep in mind. So this is something I wouldn't want to be combining with watercolor too much. And then we got the Faber-Castell Pitch Big Brush Artist Pen. We've got a nice chunky pen. Again, green gold, actually. Kind of. I was assuming it was going to be yellow ochre, kind of like this. They do look really similar, so we will check that out. Traditional India ink, pigmented and waterproof.
Looks like we have a black and yellow theme this year.
Let's see, do we have anything?
Stickers?
We got some stickers. And then, of course, we've got our candy. Got ourselves an airhead. And then on the back, we have the 31 days, 31 drawings prompt for the month of October. I'm hoping to not have a million other projects going on during the month, but you guys know me. This is a very comfy theme. I'm seeing here. We get
cemetery picnic.
Okay, that's very comfy. Haunted home. But then there's also coffee. We get frog friends and blanket forts. This is going to be a very comfy theme. Last year I did a goblin theme. I think we could do some comfy goblins. I could shake it up and do something different, but comfy goblins I think would be fun. Of course, I didn't get any green. Got to figure out how my yellow. I don't think there is a set law that says goblins have to be green. I don't think the goblin police are going to come break my knees if I have a yellow goblin. But, alright, I think that we should start cracking some things open and test some things out. Alright, we are back. I have acquired us some water, and we have everything laid out off to the side. And I think the best thing to do, let us just go down the list. I have some swatching paper from the definitely not actually the Plumchester Square sketchbook, which is an I'm assuming that what we actually got is also an ArtSnacks exclusive and not just the what we didn't get here. So I think let's start out with our Bombay India ink. I'm going to give it a little bit of a shake once it is securely secured. All right. Because I feel like there's a possibility for disaster. I do also have some swatching paper in the background over here. So we can kind of see how is it going to behave.
Looks like puff paint.
It's got a little bit of a puff paint thing going on here. Do a little bit of brushing. And this would be a pretty good color to put on just in the background when you're starting your piece out. Just kind of lightly go in with your yellow paint and then just do your inking on top of that, because you wouldn't even have to worry about if your pen is waterproof or not if you do it in that order. Sometimes with my pieces I'll start out with some line art in ink and then I'll add some watercolor and then I'll go back and fix my line art, but occasionally I have had some line art kind of explode on me, start bleeding if I wasn't paying attention to what kind of pen I was using. Okay. Then this, the acrylic ink, I feel like putting this in a dip pen would not be the greatest idea. They say we can do it, but dip pens and I don't have a good relationship, so I'm kind of glad we didn't really...
You broke it.
Awesome, we're... Okay. Wait a minute. Maybe that...
It just came. It's fine.
Okay, and I put my thumb in it. Okay. There we go. This is the quality of reviews you come here for.
Well, it's a nice dark black.
Let me get a little bit more there. I didn't shake this one. I probably should have. Let's attempt to put it back together. Give it a shake. Okay. I'm going to squeeze some more in. Let's use the brush. There we go. That actually is a good solid black. I'm not finding it's overly diluted. I did try to only get a little bit of water. So that'll be a nice ink to have in my arsenal. Let's see if I can remember how to make good bamboo. I don't know if you guys can hear my cat in the background. We have another special guest.
And then I would put some of this in a small dish, like a paint palette. That way you don't get water in it and dilute the whole thing if you use a brush. But a dip pen that's super easy to clean, I'm sure would work out fine. I just would be reluctant to put it in a fountain pen, even though it says, oh, this looks good. I think we're supposed to be going Halloween, though. Spooky bamboo.
Zombie pandas.
Oh, got
I can get something.
Okay.
We can get something out of that. And then of course next on the list is the synthetic brush. I am liking how this works. It is good springy material. It's a synthetic material. I've had some brushes that I think it's mostly just from use that brushes start to get a little, they start to have bad hair days. Okay, next on the list is, this is the pocket brush pen, which I feel like I have something very similar. We've had this sitting for a little bit, so looks like it needs just like a tiny bit more, but maybe shake it a bit. This might need a little bit more time, because it is feeling a bit dry. So we might wait a little bit on that. I am gonna let that hang out over here.
We can also, depending on how firm the cartridge is, we can give it a squeeze. Make sure it's in there all the way. That would be Catullus.
So there it goes. So this one, it does kind of behave a bit like an actual brush. So it's going to take a little bit more skill to use well, I think. Because you are going to have... But my cat has some opinions about this. Because you are going to get kind of a light texture here. You can do some like sumi-e type things with that, which is kind of what I was thinking with the bamboo.
There's a pretty good chance he's gonna jump up here, but I mean that's fine. No,
He might be leaving. He's like, fine, you're gonna ignore me. So this would definitely be better for doing line art that kind of looks brush-like. I don't know if I would use it for a lot of some of my like solid black work that I do, but it is fun to experiment with. This would actually be really good for doing gesture sketches with. I don't know what. There we go. Random gesture sketch. Because with a gesture sketch, you just want the vague idea of a pose rather than actually focusing on detail, which actually even this would be really good for gesture sketching if you were doing some life drawing. Next on the list is the white gel pen, which I might actually want to go in. Before we do anything with that, I think I want to go in and do some just really solid blocks of black, because that's going to make it easier to see how well the pen works. So I'm going to let that dry for just a little bit. So actually, I think we should jump forward and check out the fine line ink pens. Let's see, I think we have them. We still have them in the order of size. The 8... Actually, I think I might have this exact... I think I have this exact pen in this exact size. Because now that I'm looking at it, it's like I have used that. Left-handed problems strike again here. This is my go-to speech bubble size. Usually my speech bubbles look better than that, but I'm going to put my hand in everything if I'm not careful.
the big black square.
And my yellow blobs still have not dried. But this is a good pen for your nice thick line art. And what do we have next? The 05 is a size that I really like. When I go for my Sakura microns, 05 is my go-to size. Let's see how it feels on this paper. I'm smearing already. Can I get an F in chat for left-handedness? an 01. These are going to get just... Actually, 01 I like for face details. I need to get super tiny when I'm doing certain styles of cross hatching. I've been trying to cross hatch a little more of a focused way. I'm trying to take lessons from R. Crumb and his hatching techniques. What did I do? I think I did 01 and then I'm jumping to 02. One of the things I notice when you get into the smaller sizes is they do start to feel a little more scratchy. There's the 03. I'm going in ascending order. Let's actually create a form. To do some hatching in here. And then this, let's just take a look. Let's take a moment to see, get the camera to focus on how tiny that is.
It's like needlepoint.
And this, I want to be really careful with this because I do have one of my tiniest Copic pens that I've had for a very long time and it still mostly works. It's got a little bit of a bent tip. It's just very slightly angled off to the side. So it's got the right size for precision work, but you're gonna have to recalibrate basically. Your work's gonna be very slightly off center. Your lines are gonna be very slightly off center from what you actually want. This, if you have a very light touch though, that would look really nice. That's going to be really good for super tiny detail work. And I think part of the problem with my Copic pen is I've had it so long, it goes back to the time where I was very heavy-handed with all of my pens. I kind of did have a tendency to murder them.
I am finding that, so you swatched it on like garbage paper, right? And then this is super thick multimedia paper. I swatched it on to Moy paper, and these pens are much nicer on this paper.
This feels like a smoother paper.
Yeah,
this,
for sure. This is really textury.
This
so
has
the
a
pins are
little
very
bit
grabby.
of a bite to it. This would be better for your watercolor type things. You can see here. Wouldn't be just completely terrible. Actually, for sketching, that would be really nice. I'd be curious how markers hold up to that, because I do really like to use...
the back, actually. It didn't... That's impressive,
we
right?
have no
It didn't
bleeding
bleed through.
Compared to... This actually hasn't really
No,
bled through. This isn't like the crappiest crap paper. Actually, now that I've said that, I have 2 sheets here. Okay.
So, still.
Very, very
not
minor
terrible.
bleeding. I wouldn't necessarily use this for your watercolor masterpieces, but it's actually holding up pretty decently well. Let's see. If I'm very careful, we actually would be able to go back in. Feeling like my friend Dak in high school, who, much like me, was left-handed, and he had the most painful pen grip I've ever seen, and it's basically what I'm doing right here, because I'm trying not to put my hand in anything.
Because you needed to swatch on this side, so that you wouldn't be leaning on that side.
Well, this is actually turning out really nice. This does have a nice opacity to it. I think it's got a little bit of a wider tip than the pen I have been using.
Oh, does it say? Is it a 0.5 or 0.8?
It says broad.
Okay, so it's probably going to be more like an 8, like the...
I think I'm using a Sakura Jelly Roll pen for a lot of my...
Yours is probably a 0.5. That seems to be the most common size. That's a nice pen, though.
This
It's
is
going
a
on there
good pen.
Really, really well.
I got one a couple years ago. I think it was the Arteza box, the advent calendar. That was kind of a crap white pen. Actually, a few of the products I got in the Arteza box were a little bit...
They're more budget friendly, so better for if you're buying them for kids that are just going to plow through the art supplies. King's Art is kind of one of those brands too that's not very expensive. Very affordable.
Their fine liners, though, are pretty good. Got a little bit of smear there. This does have a different kind of texture when you're going over the black on this paper. But this, I'm gonna scribble around, clean it a bit. I am definitely gonna give a thumbs up on this white gel pen, because this is definitely something that I'm always looking for good versions of. I've had a few people ask what kind of white gel pens I like to use, and definitely the Sakura Jelly Roll is my favorite, but I'm going to give a thumbs up for the Uniball Signo. I would probably get a finer one if I was just going to buy one for myself, but probably having both is going to be very helpful. Okay, so that leaves us, we've got our Zebra Sensations, and I do already like that tip. It looks like it's going to be a good springy tip. And you can get some very fine lines with that. Let's try it on this. Actually, let me go back. It might be performing similarly. I almost feel like on this paper, it's maybe not picking up as much of the texture. Let's see. I think if I brush faster, it's not. This is my problem. It might not be picking up as much. Because you can kind of see where the line is breaking a little bit on there. And that, I think, partly could be a speed thing.
You get a lot of line variation. It reminds me of the Fude Sign pen. Maybe I'll go grab one when we switched. That's what it reminds me of. I think I have a green one, not a black one, but...
And then, last but not least, we have this big chungus right here, the Pitt Artist Pen. I feel... I'm going to throw it over there. I feel like I have a small version of this. Definitely
in
not
red,
the...
maybe?
Maybe? I think I just have a black one that is
okay.
significantly smaller. I do have quite a few Faber-Castell pins that I do like that. That's a nice, solid, opaque color we got there. I'd like it more if it was in black, because that definitely...
But then the whole entire box would have been black.
And it would have been perfect for me.
I think they should have added purple or something so that it matched their
And get some
art.
More Halloween-y things. We got more of a...
Fall... Pumpkin spice.
Pittsburgh Steelers, that's the name of the team.
Oh.
I don't know football.
Which sport are we talking about?
I just...
Just kidding.
But I like that pen. That is a good thick texture. All right, so you can test out that one.
Oh yeah, that is cool. It wasn't what I was expecting.
I was kind of wondering if it was going to be a chisel tip, but this I really like. Because you can do solid, can fill out big solid spaces, and you can be a little more precise.
It's pretty firm, whereas this other one. Did we get paint on? Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, it matches. It's yellow. It's fine. It's good. That one that has
Get
like
a little goobered.
Feels like you're actually drawing with a paintbrush. More would be difficult to have control. But this one, I mean, you could write with it even. Yeah, I like this one. Okay, you can write with that one too, but it's harder, yeah?
It's a little more...
It's kind of messy.
Feathery. I think the question is, do I need to use my writing, drawing grip or my painting grip with some of these? I did discover I have a different grip when I'm writing or drawing than when I'm painting. My writing and drawing grip, the name of it escapes me now. As soon as I mentioned it, lateral quadrupod is what this pen death grip is referred to as. And for some reason when I paint, if I'm painting on a canvas upright, I do change my pen grip. And I did not even realize that until recently. But I think we have successfully showcased the talents of each product. I'm definitely excited to actually embark on the ArtSnacks ink collection challenge. We've already made a mess.
We have already made a mess.
Product. That's
funny.
That's pretty par of the course, I think,
funny.
When I'm making things. I've got paint on my hands. I've had oil paint on my face at some point of a process. I guess we're gonna smear this. We're gonna wipe this off.
All right, favorite product in the box?
That is a good question. This, even though maybe it's not like the most exciting thing to some people, I'm pretty excited for this. And then fine liners always are good to have. I think this is what I'm most excited to use. This also is going to be super useful. I do like using this. This is just an enjoyable product to use. I like how it feels on the paper. It goes on really smoothly. And so, once October rolls around, we correct?
Yeah.
Or maybe just me, we will be taking on the ArtSnacks ink collection. I think maybe they'll actually post this on their social media.
I think it's already posted on social media.
So you don't even necessarily have to get the full ArtSnacks inks box to play along with it. And if you are going to post anything as part of the challenge, you can use the hashtag ArtSnacksInk. That's what I will be doing. I will maybe include goblins. I don't know. I might just do whatever. I think I might not even follow any additional rules other than just following vaguely what they got going on here. Because I think the beauty of challenges like this and the Inktober type things is there's kind of not any rules other than ink happens on the paper, on a paper at some point every day. I think that really the challenge, you don't even have to follow a prompt. It's more of a journey of just practicing. So you can just ink completely random things every day, work on one piece for 31 days. And I think it's the only rule is that just something happens every day. Mostly there's no rules. So cool. On that note, I think we are going to close out here. Thank you guys so much for joining us on our unboxing journey. I hope that you guys will be joining us in some kind of art challenge this October and have a great time making art.
See ya.